I've got all the brake lines off, all the fuel lines off. I left that rubber line right there connected. I didn't feel like fooling with it. It's not really going to mess up anything right now. Got the emergency cable still hooked up. All the brake lines is disconnected except for the rubbers, of course. I mean, it doesn't matter. But what I was going to bring to point is I'm about to take the motor mounts loose. There's a motor mount. It goes, this is the driver's side, and this is the passenger side. There's a significant difference in them, so do not want to get that confused. And there appears to be multiple holes here for this, and I'm assuming that's the V8 versus the 6-cylinder. These are the holes that we're using. So I just figured I'd bring that. This right here is a ground. It grounds the motor block to the chassis. So I'm back. I took the chassis out and I blew it off real good. Doesn't look like there's a bunch of crap on it. I went ahead and pulled the shocks just in case I decided to pull the axle. I wanted to pull the shocks because it's got a lot of crap in here. And I'm thinking if I take these brackets loose, then I can get to it better. So I'm gonna take these brackets and set it over here with the rest of the parts. All right, it seems okay. I missed a few spots, okay? Just go ahead and put that there. I missed a few spots, so there's a big step missing here. I didn't take any pictures. I didn't do anything along the lines of that. But because it was getting frustrating, I had a hard time, especially with the getting the axles loose. Those bushings, those things were rusted in there. All right, I say the bushings, it's the bushing sleeves that are rusted to the bolts. So I'm going to show you what I've got right now, and I'll explain how I got there for whoever's trying to keep up with me. So here we go. All right. There's the there's the chassis. Got the axles loose. It wasn't so much on the shackle side where I had problems at. It was these. The fixed side of the leaf springs. It was nasty. I wound up. I didn't think that I was gonna be able to get them out, and what I wound up doing is breaking them loose, putting some PB Blaster. That's not a shout out to PB Blaster, but if PB Blaster wants to send me some whatever, I'm good with it because that stuff is great. So that's what I got. Okay, so I had an old 4.2 out of my 75 Jeep, and it was dubbed Rodney because it was I think a rod was knocking. So that's why I replaced it. So whenever I realized that the Jeep engine out of this 84 7, when I realized that it was locked up and it's going to need some work, I said I was going to take Rodney apart, take it to the machine shop, and see which one was going to be better to rebuild. And when I got Rodney out, I knew it had a chip piston. I knew that. Anybody out there trying to keep along? I took the head off Rodney 3 years ago maybe. And when I took the head off, I realized that it had a chip piston, but it run. So what I did, and I don't advise it, but if anybody is asking, can you run a engine with a chip piston? You can, because I've seen me do it. I put thousands of miles on it. It ran fine. It was weak, but it ran fine. I didn't have oil pressure. So, was this the best idea? No, it was not. It surely was not. But if you don't have money to put in your engine to rebuild it, you can you know, try to freshen it up some. And that's what I did. And it worked great. So I'm about to show you the engine, the 4.2 out of the 84, the 7, and then I'll show you Rodney's original engine. And y'all saw, I'm pretty sure I videoed it, but if not, I'll try to put some pictures in it. But the cylinders and piston had rust on the engine itself. I've been a push rod trying to drive them out. That's how bad it was. So I'm going to show you, all I did to the 7 engine was hone it a little bit to see if it was salvageable, to see how far the pitting went. So, I mean, it looks a little better than the pictures or what I showed previously. But I will show you Rodney, and this is the bare, straight off the pistons. You know, I broke a piston. Worse. I say worse. I broke part of the skirting off of it. So here is the 7 engine, and one of my buddies said that it'd probably be better to do the 7 engine. Either way, it's gonna have to be bored. So there you go. Anybody's trying to figure that out? Yes. Spoiler alert, it's gonna have to be bored. So here's the 7 engine. All right. So as you can see in this, it's got some good pitting. They're not all bad, but you see some of them that are nasty. And this is the 7 engine. They're going to be the exact same block. The only difference is the 7 is an 84 model, and it's got 7/16 head bolts. So Rodney, right here, look at that. You can see the original color right here. That's the color from the factory. So, and then looking at this, I mean, the walls are not gouged, but what you cannot see, I don't know if you can hear that, but each cylinder has a lip around it where the piston stopped. And my good buddy who knows a lot of stuff told me that if I put the same pistons back in here, I should be fine. But let's see. But I cannot do that. And I'll show you the piston that come out of Rodney. And make sure I got this in the right order. There we go. Right here. There we go. That is the piston. And you look at it, and that sucker looks like it's been eat up. And it has. It has. But it's driven. No oil pressure. And I figured out where the oil pressure went. It's because the crank has got some scarring on it. So I'm thinking it was just wore out. Needed some work done to it. This is Rodney's crank. So, I mean, the rod bearings look fine, but almost every one of these main bearings has got some kind of wear on it. So I'm thinking I was running out of oil pressure because it was pumping it all to there and I was not getting to the top part of the engine. Maybe it's the experience I have, which is none, but I'm thinking that I can't tell if the lifters are wrong. The lifters are bad. There wasn't nothing obviously broken, so it's hard for me to say as far as that goes. But what my next step is I'm going to finish getting this chassis down to bare metal, and I'm going to paint it. There's a lot of controversial things about what to paint a chassis with, and I've done a lot of reading on it, okay? I may look like, you know, just a dumb redneck, but I probably am to some people. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I seen something, this guy did a 2-year test on the POR 15. He did some on Chassis Saver, I think that was the other thing. And there was a couple of them that he used. Okay, so those two, he had 2 products from from Eastwood, and then the Ace Hardware rust stop. And he put them out, and I don't know the video, but it was a very informative video, I thought. It was very simple. He painted a piece of angle iron with these different products, rust preventers, and he set it out in the yard. And he left it there for a year. I don't know how he has the patience to do that, but you know, some people's good like that, and that's not me. But it helped me. So what it showed is that the product really does not matter, I don't think. Maybe you know, he had some flaw in it. I don't know, but he would have done it the exact same way I'm going to do it. So there's that. Let's see. There we go. So there's that. So what I'm going to do is I went to Ace Hardware, my local Ace with the helpful hardware folks, and I got some rust stop. And the one I got is Ace, it's the Ace brand rust stop, and it has, I got flat black because, you know, I talked to a very good friend of mine, and he told me that in the end product, you don't want the chassis to take away from the paint or the beauty of the machine. So that makes sense to me. At first I was thinking gloss black, but what he said makes sense. So I got flat black, and I'm going to take and flat black this whole chassis, the axles, the leaf springs, anything that is metal is going to be covered in it. And I'll get to the body after that. But first, my main priority is to get the chassis ready for the engine and transmission. Go ahead and button all the drivetrain back up. And my machinist, he's backed up, man. He's a really good one, and he's the only one around. I say the only one around. The only one that I've used, and I've had zero problems with him. He's very helpful. So I'm going to wait it out with him. I'm going to take my block over there, get it forward honed, new cam bearings pressed in, the cylinders, the pistons, and get pistons in my rebuild kit, and I'll get pistons put on, and it's going to be great. I don't know which cam to go with. When I built Rodney's engine, I put a comp cam 260H. It sounds great. I wanted that heavy lope. I say heavy lope. I wanted a lope. It didn't sound like a stock engine. So that's what I got, and it sounds great, and it's got great performance. I originally had a Holley 4412. I think that's like a 600 cubic foot a minute carburetor I put on it, and I don't know if my timing was off, but because I jetted it and put the proper power valve in it, and it still hesitated. But when you got through the hesitation, it screamed. It had plenty of torque. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if I want to check the timing and try this Holley on it, but I wound up going with a Motorcraft 2100 that came stock on a lot of the Jeep engines. And this can come with a Carter 2-barrel, and I don't want to go that route because there's a lot of problems out of those from what I hear. Some people's going to be like, oh man, I love mine, but there's a lot more problems than, it's not as easy as a 2100. It's surely not as easy as a Holley. The Holley was great. I'd love to use it. So I'm going to put the Holley on, try it. If it don't work, my good buddy's going to put the Holley on his Jeep. He's got a 77 with a 304 on it, and it should be fine for it, especially if it was just too much for mine. So I can easily get another stock 2100. So that's good. So that's my progress right now. I will probably get back with you guys whenever I finally get around to painting the chassis, getting everything fixed. I borrowed a buddy of mine's sandblaster. It's a little cheap Harbor Freight one, but it's something that I did not have to buy. That's good, especially when he used it just for a little while. I bought some walnut shell because I've seen where does a lot of good. So I'm probably gonna walnut shell. Sorry guys, this shop is a wreck, man. Look at all this crap. This is what happens when you get more than one project going. Okay, a whole bunch of crap. So I apologize. I mean, it's the way it is. It's not your shop, so I don't want to hear it. It's my shop. I do what I want to with it. So there's gonna be a lot of people and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a nasty shop. That's a terrible working condition." I don't care. You don't have to work in it. I agree. It is a terrible working condition. But I've just got too much crap going on just to clean the whole thing out and to solely work on one project. This is not a mechanic shop. This is a general shop. So, sorry. Anyways, so I'll get back with y'all whenever I get the chassis painted. I pretty much got the whole top side of the chassis wire brushed. These pieces right here were originally for the steps. I'll show them. I don't think they're supposed to be on here. But these are the steps, and I just was not crazy about these. So another one of my good buddies, he's a welder, and he's gonna help me weld. I'm gonna get some tubing, some like 2-inch tubing, the same as roll cage, whatever that might be, and I'm going to build me some nice steps out of it. My wife's a little short fella, so she would appreciate it. Anyways, that is all. That's what I'm dealing with. All right, guys.